Hey everybody, it's Alan. It is July 20th, 2014, and I am slightly more than 6 weeks on T. So it is time for an update. Um, I didn't do a 5-week update because I was camping. My wife and I were on a week and a half long camping trip near Mount Shasta and Lassen Volcanic National Park in California. That was cool. So, 6 weeks. I have kind of a long list of stuff to mention, but I'm going to try really hard to make this not an extremely long video. Alright, so, in I think it was my last video, I talked about feeling pretty depressed and wondered if it had to do with hormonal issues, since I'm obviously in the beginning of being on T and I'm adjusting to it. And I'm feeling better these days, like in the last week and a half or so. I wouldn't really say I'm feeling depressed right now. I'm feeling okay, so that's good. I think part of my depression in hindsight was just life stuff, personal stuff going on. And then also hormones, because that depression had felt similar to me to PMS, and that is at least part of what it was. Yeah, not fun, because I did have a period, so this is the second one that I've had on T, but the first one was like immediately after I had first started T. And in case anybody's interested in the scientific details, it was completely normal in all aspects, except that it was slightly lighter than usual. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that as the weeks go by. So other emotional stuff before I talk about other things. Sorry. So, I've been feeling pretty much fine, except a bit irritable. Nothing big. I haven't had any big, like, anger blow-ups or anything. Just irritable, kind of easily frustrated. Not hugely, but a little bit. Yeah, so feeling good. Other than that, emotionally, I'm feeling pretty solid about transitioning and being on T. Like, I've been feeling good about it. Feeling like it feels comfortable and natural and that transitioning fits for me, which is really awesome. What was I gonna say? Well, anyway, oh yeah. So, similar to what I think I've said before at some point, like, I have times, like, moments where I think, like, wow, this transition is a big deal. Like, it's so crazy to change your identity in such a big way and to have to tell tons of people. You know, I think, do I really have to do this? Like, this is just way out there. But then I think, well, I've been obsessing about transitioning for so many years, and it feels comfortable and natural to me to be having these changes, so crazy or not, well, it works for me, so I'll just continue on this road. So, on a different subject, in terms of more physical changes, for pretty much the whole time I've been on T so far, I've felt hot, like warm, much more so than before. It takes a lot, or more than before anyway, to make me feel cold, which kind of sucks because it's summer and it's quite warm here, and it was really hot on our camping trip, so I was pretty uncomfortable. But if anybody else on T has experienced that, the being hot, does that ever go away at all? I'd be interested to hear. One funny little tidbit is that when my mom was here visiting me for my birthday a couple weeks ago, she and my wife hugged me and were like, "Oh my god, you feel so hot, you're like a furnace." So that was funny. So another thing, acne, I mentioned that before. It's, of course, still going on. Weirdly, it was a lot worse like a week and a half ago before I went on this camping trip, and I don't really have much at the moment on my face. So I don't know why that is. Does that have to do with being outdoors and in the sun so much on my camping trip, or what? Who knows? Anyway, but I'm sure I'll have more acne in my future. And then I have some acne, like a little bit here and there on my neck, or this area, and then also on my back, like the back of my shoulders and neck. I have sort of a patch of it, which sucks, but it's not really that bad at this point. What else? I'm looking at my list. My voice, well, obvious to me anyway, it's very different, much deeper, in a time span that feels to me to be pretty fast. So I'm happy about that. It feels good. I enjoy having a deep voice. And I'm finding it difficult, like physically difficult, to speak in what used to be my normal range. Like if I try to speak like this in a voice that I think used to was kind of like my pre-T voice, it takes an effort and concentration, and I don't know if it actually sounds like it or not. But then it's really easy to go quite deep, which is new because it used to take a lot of physical effort in my throat to talk really deep. So, one thing related to my voice is that it makes me feel more urgency to work on legally changing my name, because it seems to me like it would be uncomfortable or cause problems to do stuff like go into the bank and tell them like, oh, I'm Allison and I'm here for such and such about my account. Or if I call on the phone to the bank or insurance or whatever else and I need to use my legal name, like that just seems like it would be problematic or awkward at least to be in that situation. So I want to work on legal name change soon, which is going to be tough to find the time because I have work to do, and I have my top surgery coming up in, how long is that? 2.5 weeks. That's crazy. I'll probably make another video telling about my feelings or the lead up to top surgery. So I have a couple questions for more experienced trans guys or trans people about name change and stuff. So have you guys ever had any problems or difficulties or awkwardness or whatever? Like when you've gone to the bank or insurance or whatever and used your female name, but you look like a guy and have a really deep voice? How does that go? And then a somewhat related question has to do with changing gender marker, like changing your gender on your driver's license, with insurance, social security, all that. I'd be happy to do that soon if I can. I haven't looked into the regulations around that yet. But then I'm wondering, do you guys know, how does this affect your insurance? Because, like, if I'm listed as male on my health insurance, but then if in a few years I am still on T and want to get a hysterectomy, which I am going to if I stay on T long term so that I can avoid cancer, like, how do you get insurance to cover a hysterectomy if you're listed as male, you know? Just as one example. So do you guys know about that? Have you had experiences that relates to that question? I'd be very interested to hear. It'd be helpful. Thank you. Anyway, moving on. Other changes. So another big recent one is facial hair. So I have some, like, on my chin, not underneath, like everybody else talks about, but on my actual chin, I have, I don't know, maybe around like 6 pretty thick, pokey, somewhat dark hairs and then also on my upper lip, although mainly just on the one side, which is weird. I have a handful of thick, pokey hairs. So, and then also the fuzz along the side, and well, the fuzz, the like blonde fuzz all over my face, was getting pretty long and like more of it. So I shaved my whole face for the first time so that I wouldn't look super wispy. Um, I had, in the past, I had shaved my chin and like a little bit of this just for fun, basically. But it's just maybe, was it a week ago, week and a half ago, that I shaved my whole face for the first time, which was exciting, so that I wouldn't have the like puberty fuzz. So I find that surprising because I feel like in so many YouTube videos I've heard guys say that the first hair of any sort that they get is body hair, like leg hair or something. And then I've heard so many guys say that they first get facial hair like on the neck area, like under the chin. And it takes a long time to get it like on your face. So I was surprised that I suddenly have some facial hair when I haven't had much other hair going on. But it's exciting. I'm happy with it. And I mean, like, I have so few of the pokey hairs that it would be doable to like pluck them. But of course I don't want to do that. Like, I get a kick out of shaving. So I've been shaving. I have to shave like every other day to avoid having these few hairs be quite pokey, and having my wife complain about it, which is crazy. Although this stuff has not come back yet after a week. Like, there's no fuzz coming back yet. A funny little story is that the first time, just recently, that I shaved my whole face was when we were camping. So I did it in the men's restroom at the campground with cold water, because that's all there was, and very poor lighting, and no shaving cream, because I forgot to borrow my wife's shaving cream before I went in the bathroom. So that was kind of funny. But it felt cool to do that in a, like, public men's restroom. You know, exciting. Let's see. So, what else? I'll talk a little more about restroom use in a minute. Other physical changes. So, I feel like I might have a slight increase in some body hair. It's not hugely noticeable, but I think that maybe there's like a slight increase in like some of my leg hair, or like a little bit more blonde fuzz on parts of my legs, or maybe on my forearm, just a little bit. Although I have noticed that there seems to be more or more prominent or something hair on my knuckles. You can't see it, I'm just showing you what I'm talking about. So that's, that makes me anticipatory. What else? I feel like I'm starting to look more male all over, just very slightly. Like, I feel like my face looks a little bit more male, or I don't know if my neck is getting bigger. I mean, my musculature, like, what else would you call that? Like, my body composition is seeming a bit more male to me. Like, I feel like my upper body is getting bigger, even though I haven't done any upper body exercises in the last week and a half while we were camping. And my legs look more kind of like cut. Like, the muscles in my legs look a bit more male, which I like. And then also my hands and my feet look slightly more male in terms of the, you know, muscle or skin or whatever. So that's exciting. I like that. But, you know, it's slight. What else? Just continuously, and every week, I feel like my muscles grow, and then also the other stuff that continues is, well, I guess most of it, right? Like, obviously the facial hair continues. Um, and I think I'm probably around 10 pounds heavier than 6 weeks ago, pre-T. I have mixed feelings about that. Some of it's muscle, but some of it is not. I'm not sure if I'm, like, retaining water, because it kind of feels like that sometimes, or if I'm getting fat. I'm not totally sure why I would be getting fat, unless it was purely a hormonal-driven thing. Because I've been eating more. I have been hungrier. I have been eating a bit more. But I feel like I've been burning more, too. Because, like, how could I feel this hot all the time and not be burning calories, you know? But along those lines, I have more of a love handle thing going on, which is not too cool. Feel like a little bit more of a tummy. I'm not sure why, but I don't know if I've just been eating way more and have not really been conscious of how much I've been eating. I don't know. Anyway, somewhat related to that is that my wedding ring, is feeling tighter all the time. Plus, it doesn't help that I'm so hot, and I'm like puffy all the time from being hot. But I expect that I'm probably gonna have to stop wearing my ring before too long, otherwise I'm never gonna get it off without a saw. So that's too bad, because this was my mom's wedding ring. I'm able to have it because my dad died when I was 8, so it would be a bummer to not get to wear it. But that can be dealt with. What else? Yeah, so another thing that's continuing all the time thus far is the lower growth. I'm feeling pretty much fine about that mentally. Like, the sexual sensation is excellent, so that all is going well. But I don't think I quite talked about this before. As I've heard other people say in the past, and as I expected, that region is very highly uncomfortable and kind of painful sometimes when it brushes against my clothing, even though I've pretty much just about only been wearing boxers that don't have a seam right in the middle. Still, it's highly uncomfortable. So, like, I have to wear my pants or shorts pretty low while I'm walking, especially when I was hiking on this camping trip, because when I, like, lift my knees up to hike, there's more chance for things to rub. So it's like I'm sagging. And I don't really like that, because I'm not into, like, saggy pants, but gotta do what you gotta do. And then, like, when I sit down, I have to, like, reach down and, like, put the seam of my shorts or pants sort of to one side, which makes me feel more male in a way, but it would be nice to not have to bother. So a question I have for people who have been on T for a while: does that painful sensitivity ever decrease? Like, once your growth stops or something? I'd be interested to hear that. And then, sort of perhaps the final note is that I've been being read as male, I think, like, all the time, as far as I can tell. I've been using men's public restrooms 100%. Well, if there's a unisex one, I'll use that, but, like, on our camping trip, I used public multi-occupancy men's restrooms multiple times a day. Had no problems. It was fine. I felt way more comfortable in there, actually, than in the women's, which I haven't been in the women's for many, 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 many weeks or months, but still, you know, obviously I can still compare my experience to that. So I also like having my deeper voice, because I feel like, in addition to simply being perceived visually as a guy, now I can actually talk and people continue to perceive me as a guy. Like, yesterday I was at the grocery store and there was a worker, like, stocking the bread, and he was like, can I help you find anything, sir? And I was like, no, thank you. And he was like, okay. And then I was moving past him, and he was like, oh, excuse me, sir. And so that was cool. So I feel less afraid of talking and how that will affect how people perceive me. So that's cool. And oh my god, another, like, I can't believe how long this video is. This is insane. I don't know why it's this long. Anyway, a last little note is that I need a haircut. My hair's a little poofy, and I want to go to a barber. I think that would be fun. I haven't done that yet, so I feel pretty confident about doing that soon. Because of my current manifestation. So, there you have it. I guess I'll stop there. Well, sorry it's so long. I did my best. I guess that's not good enough. Alright, well, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.